Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be comparing, contrasting, and I suppose ranking every type of Spinjitzu according to their strength, and which types of Spinjitzu are capable of countering other types of Spinjitzu. Now, the inspiration for this video came from Ninjago series head writer Doc Wyatt, who recently confirmed over on Twitter that Spinjitsu Burst is not able to counter Shatter spin. This caused me to think a great deal about the different types of Spinjitzu and how strong each style actually was when compared to other styles of Spinjitzu. And as such, let's talk about that. Let's go through every type of Spinjitzu from weakest to strongest. Quick disclaimer though, this is just my own opinion. Obviously a lot of this is based off of official Ninjago canon, but there are a lot of gaps that I needed to fill in, so I guess keep that in mind. Opinions are ahead, you might not agree. So starting with the weakest form of Spinjitzu out there, I would say the weakest Spinjitzu has got to be non-elemental Spinjitzu. There are many Ninjago characters, both in Masters of Spinjitzu and Dragon's Rising, that do know Spinjitzu, but they are not elemental masters. Characters like Misako, Doubloon, and Eren, for example, are all capable of using Spinjitzu, however their Spinjitzu is not elementally charged. Therefore, by default, I do not believe it to be as powerful as elemental Spinjitzu, and other forms of Spinjitzu that we will talk about momentarily. Don't get me wrong, these characters could easily still defeat a lot of other characters in a fight, just because Spinjitzu is a strong martial art, but again, this type of Spinjitzu is not backed up by an elemental power. Next up, we have CatJitsu. Now, if you are wondering what exactly CatJitsu is, this comes from the Ninjago book series known as Spinjitsu Brothers, which is canon, so technically this does count. Now, CatJitsu was a special form of Spinjitzu invented by the character known as Ninjago, who actually trained under the first Spinjitzu master himself. Essentially, CatJitsu is just normal Spinjitzu, but with added reflexes, much like a cat. For example, CatJitsu is more agile than regular Spinjitzu in the sense that you can move quicker, jump higher, and again, just have better reflexes overall. And aside from that, there's not really much of a difference there. But I do feel like CatJitsu would be slightly more powerful than non-elemental Spinjitzu, thus why it's here. Next up, we have Object Spinjitzu, which was introduced to us in Ninjago Dragon's Rising, primarily by the character of Eren. Now, Eren uses Object Spinjitzu to transfer Spinjitzu energy from himself to inanimate objects, hence the name. And this type of Spinjitzu does have a lot of potential. I feel like later on in Dragon's Rising, once Eren masters this more, this will be stronger. But as of right now, it's not the best thing ever. It needs some work, but it is a fairly promising technique. It's just not all the way there just yet. Next up, in terms of strength, we have Air Jitsu. Now, Air Jitsu is not technically a form of Spinjitzu, but it was inspired by Spinjitzu, so I figured it counts, and plus I'm sure people would have some words if I did not put it on the list. So next we have Air Jitsu, essentially just Spinjitzu, but with the ability to fly. And that alone makes it pretty powerful. Not as strong as other forms of Spinjitzu out there, but still Air Jitsu does have a lot of advantages, maybe too many advantages. I can see why Ninjago decided to write Air Jitsu out of Ninjago canon. Next up, we have just normal elemental Spinjitzu, or classic Spinjitzu, if you would like to call it that instead. Essentially, this is what we've seen from the very beginning. The ninja using Spinjitzu, but with the added bonus of being elementally charged. We've seen Spinjitzu used in a ton of different ways with various techniques coming from the ninja themselves and other characters and other elemental masters capable of using Spinjitzu. However, as much as I love elemental Spinjitzu, it is definitely not as strong as other Spinjitzu forms out there, but it is, I guess, the base of what all Spinjitzu variants would come from. Because again, this was the first Spinjitzu that we saw, and one of the first Spinjitzu techniques invented in terms of Ninjago canon. Next up on the list, we have Forbidden Spinjitzu. Pretty much like Spinjitzu, except with an added bit of strength coming from pure rage. As we've seen during Season 11, Forbidden Spinjitzu is a very powerful martial art, but it comes at a great cost. Sure, it's powerful, but it will corrupt you. Forbidden Spinjitzu is not something that should be used often, and while it is stronger than normal Spinjitzu, it does have a drawback, making it pretty much on par with normal Spinjitzu, I'd say, but I still think it is a little bit stronger. Because again, as explained by the show, Forbidden Spinjitzu is sort of like a more powerful but darker version of the Spinjitzu that we know, hence why it's forbidden. Following that, we have the Spinjitsu Burst, which we only saw performed once in the show, coming from Ninjago Season 13, when Cole used it towards the very end of the season, and theoretically this can only happen if an elemental master is surrounded by his or her raw element. In Cole's case, he was under a large mountain, therefore he was surrounded by earth, therefore he could achieve the Spinjitsu Burst. And it was powerful enough to destroy the skull of Hazadur, so I guess that's worth considering. I do think Spinjitsu Burst is stronger than Forbidden Spinjitzu, just because with Spinjitsu Burst you have more control over it, and unlike Forbidden Spinjitzu, the Spinjitsu Burst will not corrupt you. I will say though, with Spinjitsu Burst, there is a gray area there regarding who exactly can use it. Some sources say that only Earth Elemental Masters can utilize it. Some say that every Spinjitzu user can utilize it. In the show, we've only seen Earth Elementals use it though. But either way, Spinjitsu Burst is a lot stronger than Forbidden Spinjitzu in my opinion, just because, again, you have more control. Following that, we have the Tornado of Creation. What is stronger than one Spinjitzu tornado? A whole bunch of them. The Tornado of Creation is literally a bunch of elemental Spinjitzu tornadoes fused together into one gigantic Spinjitzu tornado. This has only been used by the ninja a couple of times in the Ninjago series, most recently during Season 10, March of the Oni, when they combined not only themselves, but also Master Wu and Garmadon to pretty much erase the Oni from existence, or whatever happened at the end of Season 10, but still, that is extremely powerful. So the Tornado of Creation, I would say, is one of the strongest Spinjitzu types out there, but just like Forbidden Spinjitzu, there are some drawbacks. You need firm concentration and teamwork, otherwise things can go very wrong very fast. But easily the most powerful form of Spinjitzu, or forms of Spinjitzu, are Rising Dragon and Shatter Spin. Like Air Jitsu, Rising Dragon is not necessarily a Spinjitzu type, but you do need to achieve Spinjitzu in order to achieve Rising Dragon, so I guess it counts. Shatter Spin, like Forbidden Spinjitzu, is more so just a corrupted form of Spinjitzu. So Shatter Spin is more Spinjitzu-like than Rising Dragon, but in terms of strength, these two are very similar. As pointed out by Dragon's Rising, Rising Dragon is the only thing that can counter Shatter Spin. Shatter Spin cannot be countered by anything else that we've just talked about, not even the Tornado of Creation. Shatter Spin is just that powerful, only able to be countered by Rising Dragon technique. Therefore, these two are about the same in terms of strength, I would say. Rising Dragon is the strongest form of, I guess, non-corrupted Spinjitzu, while Shatter Spin is the strongest form of corrupted Spinjitzu. And despite these two being labeled as the strongest, we don't really know a whole lot about either of these techniques. Dragon's Rising has only just scratched the surface regarding what these techniques can do. So I for one am looking forward to seeing more of what Shatter Spin and Rising Dragon are all about, but as of right now, I think it's safe to say that these two are the strongest types of Spinjitzu in terms of Ninjago canon. But of course, with that being said, those are just my opinions, well, for the most part. Again, some stuff is objective canon, some stuff you just need to fill in the blanks like I did. And regarding my list, feel free to disagree with me down below in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys think in terms of Spinjitzu strength, which types are the strongest, which types are the weakest. Leave all of your thoughts down below, and that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.